Thank you very much. So, you all know me as Dill of D Divorce Coaching, and you all know that as I tell you every week, I help individuals and couples divorce amicably and hopefully saving them lots of money with respective solicitors at some point. So, how I wish to talk to you today is that I'm going to split up what I actually do and how I split it up into three stages. That what I do before a divorce or a separation, what I do and help out during the divorce process itself, and what I do post divorce. So I split it into those three sections, and I'm just going to highlight some of the work I do. And at the end of each of those sections, I'm going to open it up to questions. So I'm going to do it slightly different, where rather than the questions coming at the end, the questions will come at each section. But generally, over those three areas, before divorce, during divorce, and post divorce, the main thing that I do as a divorce coach is that I provide practical guidance and emotional support. And those are the big things I do. And those come in all different shapes and sizes. And my time, it might be 2 minutes, it might be 2 hours. And each of that practical and emotional support I provide to the individual or to the couple um, is very bespoke because every individual that comes before me is an individual in their own right. Their problem might be totally different to a couple I've helped in the morning and will be totally different to the couple or the individual I help in the afternoon. So it's good for me. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps my mind ticking on how am I going to help this person? What's the best course of action to take? Okay, so the first part before the divorce. So lots of people are either referred to me or just come to me and say, right, Dill, I'm thinking of having a divorce. I'm separated, or I want to separate, or I've separated and I'm thinking about divorce. And that is a really crucial time for my clients. And it's a really important time for me because this is my time with that client to actually listen. So for me to sit back, give them that space, give them that freedom and that confidentiality to just sit down and tell me what's been happening, what they're not happy with, how they're feeling. So a lot of emotional, um, a lot of emotions will come out there in the individual. I've had individuals get really upset, cry, even laugh because they're dealing with their emotions in different ways. Swear, would you dare say? Yes, swear lots of times. But it's just giving them that space to reflect and how they're feeling. And I will pick up certain things. I'll make notes confidentially, but just allow them that space. And sometimes at the end of that, obviously there'll be questions. I'll ask questions because I'll be making notes and I'll want some further information. So I will dig deeper. And even when I dig deep in getting that information out, that can be really emotional for the individual. And it often is. But that information gives me uh, information on how I'm going to help that individual. And some people, and this has happened quite a number of occasions, they'll realize by getting everything off the chest and speaking about it that they don't actually want to divorce. They don't, because that's not their end game. And that's perfectly fine. And what they're looking for is probably just some communication with the other partner to tell them, I'm not happy with this. And what can we put right and get back on track? So that will lead to me potentially helping out, helping that individual communicate with the other party and seeing how we can get back on track. I can sometimes help in that, or I can refer them to a specialist marriage guidance counsellor. So we've had that on numerous occasions where they come for one thing, but once all the information comes out in a quite a deep sort of session with them, divorce is not really what they want, which is fine, which is fine. I've had a couple that, an individual that came to me, she was really upset, didn't want to divorce, realized she didn't want to divorce, went on, we got their marriage back on track, And last year they renewed their vows after 20 years of marriage, and I was invited to that. And that was really nice because although it wasn't a divorce coaching situation, it didn't lead to a divorce, but it led to something else, which was, just as nice, if not better, I think. So that's sort of my initial stages before divorce. So has anybody got any questions in respect of anything I've said there or want further information? Tina?
At that stage, do you normally have that meeting with just the man or the woman? Is it usually one that comes to you at that stage, or do you find you ever get a couple that early on?
I might get a couple early on, but then realize it's not going to work because there's too many people talking, and the wife or the female may say something, and then the husband will interact. So there's no progress that gets made. Yes, it's very nice, I'm going to get paid, but I'm not really earned my fee from them. So what we do is, I think it's always best. They sometimes want to come as a couple, and I have dealt with people as couples, but not in that early stage. I think it's better to do it at a later stage when I know what each of them wants, so I know how I'm then going to deal with that situation.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you, Dil.
Anybody else? No? Okay, so the next sort of section is during the legal process. So now they've decided that they do want to get divorced, and how are we going to do it? So those of you who know me will know that I'm a former solicitor, but I no longer work as a solicitor, and so I make it very clear that I'm not here to provide legal advice. So I don't, and I won't. But what I do help with regards to the legal process is just to advise them on how it all works, what is the process. So I can, and it does appear to be sometimes a divorce process really confusing, really intimidating, but I can explain the process to them so they've got a bit of or deeper understanding of how it's going to work, how long it's going to take, and what and the different sort of parts of it. So the parts that I help in the divorce process is really I can help in completing any forms that they may have. They may be given forms on their finances. I can help them complete them. I can help them prepare for meetings. They might just want to have a chat with their other half, but not really know how to get across what they want to do. And if they don't want me in that meeting, which sometimes they don't, and that's fine, I can sort of give them some guidance on what they need to be saying in that meeting, or it might even be a meeting with the solicitor. So I've given them some guidance on what and how they need to get that information across, so that they're really clear. Because a lot of people can feel intimidated when they speak to a solicitor and think that everything the solicitor is going to say they have to do. That's not necessarily the case. It's their case and they have to deal with it. I feel getting a bit short now. I also help with like explaining to their children what's happening, because sometimes parents don't explain it very well. But if an outside person comes in, they're more likely to discuss things with me and even ask questions. I get so many questions from children that I try and answer, but then feed back to the parents. So it's a really good exercise between the parents, between the children, me, and the parents. That's a really good part. And then post divorce, also during the divorce process, I see things that they'll need help on. For example, they'll need a will. So I refer to like the lovely Martin from financial planning. They're going to get a new house. They need to budget. They need help with their bills. So Laura comes in there. They may need sort of more deeper emotional support or clear the pathway. Stella comes in there. They may have issues with their health because of all the stress. Tina, that's where you come in. So it's a really nice business that I have where I can refer to other people, all for the benefit of my client. So that's always nice. And then finally, post-divorce, because I built up a really good relationship, just because they get their final order doesn't mean that's the end of the relationship, because it's been a very personal, confidential, professional relationship. At the end of that, there's a lot of my clients feel a bereavement. They've had a loss. There's a partner that they've been reliant on for X amount of time and they've gone. So I help them emotionally get over that. Help plan their future. They might be getting a new job. They've never applied for a job in like X amount of years. How do I do that? Give them some guidance on that. And just basically try and get them back on track, even to the point of registering a few of my clients on dating sites and hooking up a new partner and moving forward. So divorce coaching does need to attend a wedding. I haven't had a wedding yet as a result of a divorce, but I'm working on it to be the next Scylla of divorce coaching. So I think that's the end of my insight. Any questions in respect of anything I've said, I'm happy to answer. If not, that's the end. Thank you very much. The lovely Laura.
It's not a question, but more of a statement. I've not really thought about how useful it would be to have a mediator for the children, because, you know, everyone's emotionally charged, aren't they? And it's a really valuable service she provides there. So I've not thought about that. That's really cool. I like that. Thanks for sharing, Dil.
Thank you. You're welcome. Anybody else? Sorry, Stella?
That sort of piggybacks on what Laura just said about the children. And I was thinking, maybe, do you ever get adult children coming to see you about their parents? Because, you know, really it doesn't matter what age you are, you're still a child of somebody else's. And if they separate or divorce later on in life, then that still impacts you as a child. So do you have older children coming to see you?
I think the eldest child I've had is probably 20. So, you know, still young, a young person, but not somebody in their 30s and 40s. But yeah, so a 20-year-old child who was really concerned about how it would affect them and how they would deal with both parents moving forward. So a lot of people do overlook the children, or even especially when the children are young, they think they were just going to go along with what parents say, but what they're harboring a lot of trauma themselves, and how they're going to get over that. And some of the questions that come out are really quite deep questions where parents wouldn't even think they would think of that. And sometimes the children don't want to even actually ask the parent because they feel that they're taking sides. So that is an area of my work which is actually growing. And because I'm sort of independent, I then relay that back to the parents, and they've turned around, didn't even think of that they'd be feeling like that. So I think that part of the work I do, I find quite valuable and rewarding.
I'm sure they do as well, because, you know, as a child, it's very difficult to not take sides if somebody's left or thinking of leaving. So you see them as the villain and maybe the other person as the victim. And actually, as a child, you may not have the wherewithal to make sense of it all, because all relationships are very complicated anyway. So, and there you are stuck in the middle. So I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, Stella. Any other
questions at all?
I just want to say I'm sorry that I actually had to take a call. That was a booking. Sorry about that.
No problem, Ben. I think Martin, did you have your hand up?
I did. What dating profiles do you set up, Dil?
You specifications are, Martin, and I will help you as much as I can. Not
excellent.